let's move on to Job chapter 2. Look in Job chapter 2, verses 7 through 10. So Satan left the Lord's presence, and he struck Job with terrible boils from head to foot. Now that just gave you a clue as to who was doing this to Job. Job scraped his skin with a piece of broken pottery as he sat among the ashes. Verse 9 says, his wife says to him, now this being the loving and supporting thing to say to her husband, his wife said to him, are you still trying to maintain your integrity? Would you just curse God and die? Oh, thank you. But Job replied, you talk like a foolish woman. Should we accept only good things from the hand of God and never anything bad? So in all this, Job said nothing wrong. Now he's done a great job. He's done a great job here. He's done his job. He then begins to cry out in despair, but he never blames God. If you look at chapter 3, verse 23, he says, God, what is up? What have I done? If you look at Job 7, verses 6 and 8, he says, my days fly faster than a weaver's shuttle. Let me put that up there. They end without hope. O God, remember my life is but a breath, and I will never again feel happiness. You see me now, but not for long. You will look for me, but I'll be gone. In other words, I'm just going to die. I'm in such great despair. I'm going to die. I can't take this any longer. Have you ever felt like that? Have you ever felt like you've just been given a whooping? Now, here's the interesting part. Here's where Job begins to question God. He begins to ask God, I've got this figured out, Lord. Why are you doing this? Look at Job chapter 13, verses 20 through 24. He says, O God, grant me these two things, and then I'll be able to face you. First off, remove your heavy hand from me, and don't terrify me with your awesome presence. I know you're all powerful and you're all able. Now summon me, and I'll answer. Oh, let me speak to you, Lord, and you reply. So let me talk, and let's have a little fellowship here. Tell me what I have done wrong. Now this is a question that he means to ask in a little bit of a sarcastic manner. He knows he's not done anything wrong. When you've lived a good day, you know you've not done anything wrong. Show me my rebellion and my sin. Why do you turn away from me? Why do you treat me like as an enemy? And he's not saying, why are you doing these things to me? He's saying, why have you turned away from me? Now, Job is a type and shadow of Jesus, who will be coming along soon in the picture, or later in the picture. And Jesus had done nothing wrong, and Jesus cried out on the cross, Father, why have you forsaken me? And so all the while, Job's friends are cursing and accusing and telling him to curse God and die. His wife even has given up. His friends are saying to him, you must have sinned. Have you ever been in a situation where you're just overrun with stuff going wrong, and somebody in your family tells you must have sinned? I'll never forget. Shiloh, I'll never forget. When lightning hit my house, this house that's right behind me right here, lightning hit my house. And someone told me I must be sinning. I'll never forget it. Well, yeah, I'm a sinner just like everybody else, but God doesn't strike people's house with lightning because they're sinning. Oh, anyway. So after that, God begins to speak and says, Job, where were you when I laid the foundations of the world? When I set the boundaries for the oceans and all those things? Who are you really to question me? And pretty much for 4 chapters, God questions Job. And Job stays faithful. Job stays worshipful. Job stays respectful. After his one little break, he stays respectful. He never blames God. He continues to be a person that just says, okay, am I to only expect blessings? Are there other things coming in life? So I'm just going to worship. Now, what we see here is no matter what happens, Job, even when he's depressed, he worships. And no matter what happens, he speaks positive words. Come on, somebody. And no matter what happens, Job did not blame God, even though his friends were saying blame God, or his friends were saying blame yourself, for you must have sinned. That's another thing he doesn't do. He doesn't blame himself. And no matter what his friends said, Job forgave them. Now you got to think about that. When he was asked to pray over them and forgive them, he did so. And so no matter what they said, he forgave them and let it go and accepted their sacrifice. Job never gave up on God's best, and he had everything stolen from him, but God returned it at least double. And I believe that if we follow this example, that God inhabits our praise. God, the fruit of our lips, we will be eating those things. It is so important for us. Now let me go inside, because it's starting to get a little hot out here. Let's go inside, and I want to show you Paul. I've got some neat pictures of the real pictures of where Paul was put in prison. And I want to show you those things. Show you where Paul was when he was praising God in the midst of adversity. Let's look. All right, now I'm inside, and we can carry on here, and it is cooler in here. I'd like to talk to you further now about Paul and the mindset of Paul. You see, Paul was beaten 5 times, I believe it is, with 39 lashes. 1 time will kill you. Paul was beaten with rods 3 times. He was stoned to death, or supposedly they tried to stone him to death once. He was shipwrecked 3 times. He floated in the sea a day and a half 1 time. And he called those his light afflictions. And that's where I want to go today with that. But let me show you some prisons here of Paul. First off, here is the Philippian jail cell, Paul's jail at Philippi. Now, the outside wall has fallen down off of this, and it does have a little courtyard. You can see the grass there, and you used to would have to crawl through a hole to get into there, but he had to sleep. He was chained in there. He had to sleep, and here's a modern day video that I found online that I'll put up for you. Now these guys, they're filming the gate, and they hand the camera over to the guy that's already jumped over into the cell, and he walks in the little courtyard area of Paul's Philippian jail cell. And there's the floor where the Apostle Paul would have slept. And you can see the beginnings of the opening there before it fell down that you would have to crawl through to feed Paul. And there was probably enough chain for him to come out and get a little sun. But it's illegal for these guys to be there. So now immediately he goes back over to where his buddy is and hands the camera back over, and then crawls back over himself. But that's Paul's Philippian jail cell.